Durjana sajjano bhuyat, sajjana shantimapnuyat, shanto mucceta bandebhyo, muktaschanyan vimochayet. O Lord, please bless every being and guide their intellect, so that let all the wicked people be transformed into righteous people. Let all the righteous people may attain the peace and strive for self realization. Let all the self realized people help other beings to reach the final goal. Om, peace, peace, peace. Dear devotees, we were discussing Narada Bhakti Sutra, aphorisms on devotion. As already told in my previous classes, the aphorisms, which is by Narada, he himself is a great devotee. He himself has practiced this path of devotion. So, out of experience, he is narrating his experience in the form of aphorisms. Since it is not mere intellectual idea, or just it is a hypothetical thinking, rather, these aphorisms have come, or it has been written by celestial sage Narada out of his experience. He has dedicated his life completely at the feet of the Lord. And he was always working for the welfare of the world and welfare of every being. And he was leading the God centered life. That is very important. It is not the world centered life, rather, it is the God centered life. And such a person, he told, what is supreme devotion and how to attain it. What are the steps? What is the means to attain that? What is supposed to be practiced and what is supposed to be avoided? What is abhyasa to be practiced? Vairagya, what is from what we should desist ourselves? All these things has been explained in the 55 aphorisms. From the 56th aphorism, he starts explaining the preliminary devotion. That is Gauni Bhakti. The style of explaining in the Indian scriptures, Hindu scriptures, or scriptures from Oriental philosophy is first they always give the explanation or the means or the ideas for the best people. Okay, you say that if you feel that you are not, then it is for mediocre. Then if it is not, then it is for preliminary or for the beginners. So here, after explaining the supreme devotion, para bhakti, if you, any person, a devotee who is reading this scripture, if he feels himself that, okay, I am not yet got this supreme devotion, completely dedicated myself to the Lord at all times, at all circumstances, then I should decide that, he or she should decide that we are at the preliminary steps. Or it is called preparatory devotion, Gauni Bhakti. So what is Gauni Bhakti? Types of Gauni Bhakti, types of preparatory devotion, and how to be practiced or attained. This is told in the 56th aphorism. Gauni Tridha, Gunabedat, Artadibedatva. Means this preparatory devotion is three types. It is based on what? It is based on quality of a person. And it is also based on the motives. Now let us see what does the author means. So in devotion, there are two types. One is preparatory devotion, the other is supreme devotion. So till now we discussed about supreme devotion. Now we are discussing about preparatory devotion, that is Gauni Bhakti. Now what type of devotion a person is having? According to his nature, according to his quality, according to his thoughts, according to his emotions, his devotion will be there. Say a person who has got very pure intentions, pure motives, pure thoughts, unselfishness, and all the good virtues, if he has got such type of person, definitely, if it is a preparatory bhakti, he will have a sattvika bhakti. Sattvika bhakti is always, he, as much as possible, he tries to serve the Lord. He doesn't demand anything from the Lord because he loves Lord. He loves his or her chosen deity. He loves the divine, supreme, divine being, supreme being. He tries to love, he tries to serve, he tries to follow the teachings which is prescribed by the scriptures or by the God. He doesn't demand anything. If at all, if he demands for love towards God alone. That is what the nature of Sattvika Bhakta. Now, a person who is restless, who is ambitious, who has got a lot of desires, maybe worldly possession, for name and fame, for power and position, and for wealth, all such type of desires. A person's mind is colored with such type of desires, or he has got such type of nature. Then such type of a devotee, such type of a person will have a Rajasika Bhakti. Means here it is a barter system, give and take. Oh Lord, daily I will do 1,000. I will repeat your name 1,000 times, so you should give me good progeny. You should give me abundant wealth, or I should have a probably good, safe, lucrative job. So it is demanding. I will give something and you give something to me. So this is what barter system, business in the name of religion or in the spirituality. So this is called Rajasika Bhakti. Then there's a third type of bhakti is called Tamasika Bhakti. A person who is a dull-headed, is very sleepy, always lazy, lethargical, is known for his procrastination, he's always trying to harm the people most of the times. Such a person, he always demands, he doesn't give anything at all. So this type of person is called a tamasika person, dull-headed person, and his devotion will be tamasika bhakti. So it is based on the nature of a person, three types of nature at broad canvas. Any personality can be classified into three groups, three types, and correspondingly, their devotion will be there. Now the question may come, we all know these things probably, or by hearing these lectures, we will be knowing. We know what to do and what not to do, why to do, why not to do, when to do, how to do. All these things mostly we will be knowing. But unfortunately, many times we don't practice. We are unable to practice. Why? Why there is an evil in this world? And why human being creates evils? Why he creates sin? Sin means bad actions, I used to say. From Christian theology, sin has got a different connotation and denotation. I'm not speaking from that point of view. Here, sin means, I mean, it is bad actions and results will be bad also. Why, Because of lack of volition, we create mistakes, we do mistakes. I know I'm not supposed to do that. I'm not supposed to do such a bad action, but because of lack of willpower, lack of control over the mind, that's the reason my mind will pull me towards the bad actions and I will commit sin, I will commit blunders, I will perform bad actions. Lack of volition. Then, if my emotions are not pure, if my emotions are not matured enough, if my emotions are not channelized properly, then what happens? I experience a lot of pain. One is because of volition. I do some mistakes, and because of improper, impure emotions, what happens? A lot of pain is experienced by a person. Now, if a person in a day-to-day life, if he's experiencing a lot of pain, mental pain, agony, that means his emotions are disturbed. Probably his emotions are not pure, or it has been distracted, or it is going in a wrong way or in a wrong channel. And the third is error cognition. My thoughts are not proper. My thinking is not right. I have got a prejudiced mind. I've got a colored mind. My judgments are not right. My understanding is not right. My thinking is not right. So I commit lot of errors. Lack of volition, I do mistakes, I do sinful actions. Then lack of emotions, I experience pain, and lack of cognition, I commit errors. So these are the three things which we have to understand. And this is what the whole of life. And when an aspirant takes care of these things, volition, emotion, cognition, then his life is taken care, we have to understand. So these are the three cues: volition, emotion, cognitions are very, very important for a human being. Now, based on the motive, say for an example, a person is at a distress, if he is person at a problem, he is a person is at lot of pain and problems or whatever, such type of person is praying for God, then he is called artha. His motive is what? To come out from that problem, to come out from that agony, to come out from that adverse circumstances. Such a person's motive is always coming out from the problems or the pain or the agony. He is called artha. His motive is what? To come out from the pain. He is a one type of devotee. Then the second person, which is given by Bhagavad Gita, artharthi, he wants money basically. He wants wealth, he wants name, fame, power, position, money. He wants all the things, materialistic progressions basically. So that's the reason he worships the Lord. His motive is what? He wants money. He wants materialistic progression, materialistic comforts, materialistic, wealth, basically. So he worships the Lord. So he is a second type of devotee. Based on the motive, is called artharthi. Then the third person, he wants to know what is the truth. What is the sublime truth? What is the truth after the death? Before birth and after death, what is there? From birth to death, in the between, the lifetime, we know what is happening. We are witnessing all that, no doubt. But before birth and before death, does man exist? If a being exists, he exists in what form? And what is this world? It is made up of what? Who created? When it got created? Why it is created? How it was created? All type of this type of suprasensual things, philosophical thinking, philosophical speculations one got. His mind is boggled with such type of thoughts. He wants to know the truth. Philosophical truth, philosophical speculation, I mean to. So that type of person is called jignasu. Jignasa means gnatum icha, one who is interested in knowing. So such a mindset, a person who has got such a mindset, jignasa, is called jignasu. Say for example, scientists. There can be materialistic scientists, spiritual scientists. They are searching for the truth. So all Vedas, the Veda mantras we got from this type of people, jignasus. Why? They dedicated their life, they thought, they meditated, and they raised their minds to that particular level, and they found out the truths, sublime truths, and they gave to the next generations. Jignasu. So based on the motive, in the preliminary devotion, we have got three types of devotees. One is artha, one who is in difficulties, he wants to come over, he wants to get over from that. Then second type of devotee, artharthi, who wants materialistic progression, he also remembers God. Then the third is jignasu, one who wants to know the truth, so he's seeking the Lord's help to know the truth. If you have studied the Bhagavad Gita, then you will be knowing that there is a fourth type of devotee called artha, jignasu, artharthi, and gnani. A gnani is also a type of devotee according to Sri Krishna. But somehow Narada doesn't accept it. Because gnani is always, he has understood who am I, self-realization. He doesn't bother about God according to him probably. For whatever the reason, he doesn't accept the fourth type of devotee, that is gnani. He only accepts these three types of devotees. So one is three types of devotees based on the nature of a personality. Who has got tamasika quality, he has got tamasika bhakti. Who has got rajasika quality, predominant nature quality is rajasika nature, who's hyperactive, restless, motivated with ambitions and all. He has got rajasika bhakti. And who has got sattvika quality, pure, serene, simple living with all love, compassion. And his bhakti is called sattvika bhakti. That is based on the nature of personality. And the third is based on motives. The Narada differentiates the bhakti into three types, that is artha, jignasu, and artharthi. And if you seriously If you cogitate on these ideas and if you meditate, probably, if you speculate deeply, what are the three types of devotees based on the motives I said? So that represents the God's nature, ultimate nature. According to, we know that Vedanta or Upanishads or Vedas describe what is the nature of God. The nature of God is Sat, existence, Chit, knowledge or consciousness or awareness, then Ananda, that is bliss, not happiness, bliss. Now, Artha Bhakta, one who wants to get away from the problems, that means what? He is seeking for happiness. He is seeking for happiness. That means what? He is representing the Ananda portion, the bliss portion of the Lord, of the devotee, of the God. Then Jignasu, one who wants to know the truth, sublime truth. He is known for his speculations always. He keeps on thinking, what is the nature of reality? What is the nature of reality? What is reality? That means what? Is rational being and is a knowledgeable person, etc. So he's giving prominence to the chit part of the God. That is what? Chit part is what? Knowledge, awareness, consciousness, etc. etc. Then this Artharthi, he wants to own the things. Why? Because he wants to exist in this world. That means what? He represents the Sat part of the Lord. Lord has got Sat, Chit, Ananda. These three devotees represents, predominantly Sat, Chit, Ananda. Artha, Ananda, Jignasu, Chit part, and the Artharthin, he represents, or he always tries to worship the Lord from the Sat point of view, that is from the exist point of view. If you see, Buddha was moved that there is a lot of suffering in the Arya Satyani, the Four Noble Truths. He said that there is a suffering, there is a problem of suffering. Since there is a suffering, there should be a cause of suffering. There should be cause for it. If there is a cause, there should be reason. There should be solution also. Third one, if there is a solution, what is the solution? That is a Ashtanga Marga, he told. This is what Four Noble Truths told by Buddha. So if you predominantly study Buddhism, they want to have the Ananda. So this Ananda portion is given importance in Buddhism. And if you see in Upanishads, they say that Ananda, but predominantly it is of Chit portion. Gnana portion is very much predominant in Upanishads. And if you see Jewish prophets, and if you see Christianity, if you see Islam, basically Semitic religions, mostly that is Sat part, existence. I want to exist. I want to exist in this world or in the even heaven permanently, because they don't believe in rebirth. So Sat part is given prominence in this all Semitic religions, Jewish religion or Christianity or Islam. When you read these things deeply only, you'll be able to understand. Otherwise, at the superficial level, you'll not be able to. Now, in the 57th aphorism, he says that than the succeeding ones, earlier ones are greater. Uttarasmad purva puro shreyam bhavati. Means what? Now, Satvika Bhakta, Rajasika Bhakta, Tamasika Bhakta. Than the succeeding ones, earlier ones is greater. That means what? Satvika Bhakta is the best among the Bhaktas. Then Rajasika Bhakta is the mediocre, and the Tamasika Bhakta is the preliminary, or is the probably, it is not worst, I can say, good, better, best. So Tamasika Bhakta is good, so Rajasika Bhakta is better, and Satvika Bhakta is best. Similarly, Artha, Jignasu and Artharthi. Artharthi is a good Bhakta, then Jignasu is the better, and the Artha Bhakta is the best according to Narada Bhakti Sutra. That we have to understand. Because in the Bhagavad Gita, you will get a different picture. And why, you may ask, what is the reason for that? Because in the Satvika Bhakta, in the Satvika Bhakti or in the Satvika Bhakta, the unselfishness and the purity is predominant in nature. He doesn't only think about himself, he always tries to think about the others also. Self-abnegation, this is what told by Swami Vivekananda in his Karma Yoga. Purity, complete surrender to Lord, simple living, and no demand from the God. Oh, always giving, always loving for love's sake, loving God for God's sake or love's sake, that's all. He doesn't demand anything, he doesn't need anything. That's why it is superior. And in Rajasika Bhakta, he worships the Lord with a great pomp and show. He wants to show that he's a great devotee. And there's a barter system, there is a business. Oh my lord, every day, as already I told, I repeat your name 1,000 times, so you give me good amount of wealth. Or I want probably a secure job, or I want a good wife, good husband, or I want good children. So there is a barter system, there's a business agreement between a devotee and the Lord. This type of devotee is called Rajasika Bhakta. I think there's a funny story which is told by Sri Ramakrishna. A devotee in India, he was worshipping Durga Puja. In Navaratri, just we have finished. In, in some houses, when this Durga Puja is worshipped, they offer even meat. They offer even meat for Mother Durga. And you used to worship this Durga Puja with a great pomp and show. People used to feel, oh, such a devotion he has got for him towards Mother. He is worshipping the Durga Puja, Mother Durga, worshipping Mother Durga with such a devotion, with such a dedication, with such a commitment. This was continued for few decades. And now he had become old, and half of his teeth have fallen now. Probably there was no denture at the time, I think. So then slowly he started reducing Durga Puja things, and finally one day he stopped. For everyone, it was astonishment. Such a devotion he had. He could have done at least continued Durga Puja in a simple way. Why did he stop altogether finally? Then people thought probably he has become old. He cannot perform anymore. He cannot organize things. And some other thought probably their family members, their children or grandchildren, they are not interested. So as a result, he might have kept quiet. There may be problem with the money, economical problem or whatever. I mean, people had their own thinkings and they kept quiet. But one of his close friend, he asked, my dear, if you don't mind, I will ask a question. What is that? Why did you stop Durga Puja? You used to celebrate Durga Puja so nicely earlier with a grand way. People used to like and love. Why did you stop altogether? Then the person said, look, don't you see my teeth have fallen, most of them. Yes, that's why I stopped Durga Puja. What? Your teeth falling and you're stopping Durga Puja. What is the connection? Because my teeth have fallen now, I'm not able to digest even much because I cannot eat meat, I cannot consume meat, so I've stopped Durga Puja. So his whole of performing Durga Puja is what? To consume and to enjoy meat. Probably he had the mental thinking that if I eat meat like that only, probably I get a sin, I may commit sin. So just to take care of it, he was performing Durga Puja just to enjoy his meat. So means the Rajasika Bhakta will be always self-centered. So what I get from this, if he is getting something, he does. Otherwise, he will not. Either he will not worship the Lord or he will not do any devotional practice. This is type of Rajasika Bhakta. And Tamasika Bhakta, he doesn't do much. He doesn't follow rules, regulations, traditions. Mostly, he said, "Oh mother, you should give me. Otherwise, I will see what I will do. I do not." Such type of highly demanding and highly uncultured way. Sometimes the people demand the God and to fulfill their desires. In the demons, we can see. Demons, they demand the Lord, you should give me, you should give that, etc. etc. This is what Tamasika Bhakti. So Sattvika Bhakti or Bhakta is superior, then it is a mediocre, Rajasika Bhakta, and the very low level of Bhakti is called Sattvika Bhakti. And similarly, Artha is the better ones, Jignas is a mediocre, and Artha is the below ones or the just the beginner, according to the Narada. Now, in the beginning, if you remember, beginning of my classes or aphorisms, Narada had made a statement that bhakti, the path of devotion, is much easier. He had made a statement, but he didn't give reasons. Though I had given reasons in my classes, but Narada had not given reasons. Now, in this, probably remember that okay, I had made a statement. Now I didn't give reason. Now he started giving reason from his 58th aphorism. Why the path of devotion? The Bhakti Yoga is the easiest path among all other paths. At broad canvas, we all know that we have got four paths. One is Gnana Yoga, the path of knowledge. Then the second is Raja Yoga, the path of meditation or psychic control. Then the third is Karma Yoga, the path of selfless action. And the fourth is Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion. So according to celestial sage Narada, the Bhakti Yoga is the easiest path. Even Sri Ramakrishna also advocates this idea. So he tells, Anyasmat Saulabhyam Bhaktau means Anyasmat. than other easiness of attainment, saulabhyam bhakto, through the path of devotion. Means the object is easier to attain through devotion than by any other paths. Means through path of devotion, you can attain the supreme, you can attain the supreme being or the Lord, which is easier. And Sri Ramakrishna says, in this Kali Yuga, in this present age, the Naradiya Bhakti is much more suitable. So it is better to take this path of devotion. Why? Though Aristotle has said that man is a rational being, if you analyze the humankind in large, irrespective of country, irrespective of religion, caste, sect, ethnicity, we are all emotional beings. If you don't think properly, okay, if you don't, people live at the level of ideas, very few people. We are predominantly emotive people. That's why someone praises, immediately we get charged, and someone blames us, immediately we go down. Why? Because our emotions are disturbed. And sometimes we get some achievement, we get some awards, immediately we feel that we get blotched, and as if we'll be flying in the air. Similarly, we face some failures and we feel that we are gone. We are sinking in the bottomless well. Why? Our emotions are disturbed. So basically, human being, man or woman, we are emotional beings. Our emotions are very strong in us. They are leading us actually in our life, if you see really properly, if you analyze. If the emotions are given the higher aspect, and if this lifted, then these emotions will be translated, our emotions will be transformed into devotion. That's why, that's one of the reason, one of the cause is the path of devotion is much more easier for any one of us. It is very obvious with most of us. Emotions are strong. If it is channelized in a positive way, and if it has given a higher aptitude, higher angle, then these emotions will be turned into devotion. Then people will be able to reach the Lord very fast, very easily. And also, every being, if you see he may be from any place. Every one of us, we have enjoyed the love. Can we get any one person, oh, he didn't enjoy love, or he doesn't want love, he doesn't have experience of love? Every one of us we have got. Either maybe mother, from father, from friends, from colleagues, or from wife, or from husband, all these things. So we have got already experience of the love of this worldly life, or in this world, in our living world, empirical world. If the same love is translated, if it is transformed, if it is turned towards God, then that becomes devotion. When we speak of Gnana Yoga, for example, I finished Tattva Bodha and now I'm speaking Aproksha Anubhuti. Many times when we say Atman, that doesn't have any form, that doesn't have any name, and it is not an object, it is not perceptible, all these things, people think then it is better to say that it doesn't exist. It is a very fine thinking. It is not that easy for people to understand and to comprehend the nature of the Atman, the nature of the self. But whereas here, every being, including animals, birds, beasts, everyone has experienced this love. If so, when we say that the supreme love is what devotion, so it is easy for any being's mind to comprehend then what is devotion, or what can be devotion, what we mean by devotion. So it is very easy, because this is a matter of experience for us in our day-to-day life. Our mind aspires for love, concern, isn't it? So if that is turned towards God, then that becomes devotion. Even from this angle also, you can say the path of devotion is much more easier. And when the emotions are turned towards God, what happens? It gets a upper lift, higher lift, then it becomes purified. It is charged with all positivity, with the strength. Then it will be great strength for us, and we'll be able to lead our life very easily, or whatever. Then the other reason they are saying that is, it is completely from the divine grace. And here in the Karma Yoga, or in the Gnana Yoga, or in the Raja Yoga, self-effort is there very much. But here, yes, self-effort initially we will have, slowly we will surrender ourselves to the Lord, and Lord will take care of us easily. Name Bhakta Pranashati, if you remember the Bhagavad Gita, Lord himself assures. There is no time where my devotee has been perished. By because I don't allow my devotee to perish. And Sri Krishna, he says in Bhagavad Gita, if anyone wants self-realization, Atma Gnana, I'm ready to give, I will give easily. But if someone wants bhakti, devotion, love, supreme love, then I am not very easily, I will not give. I'm very calculative. I think twice. Why? Because if I give devotion, if I grant devotion, what happens? Then I will become his disciple. I will become his sevak actually. When the devotees are under stress, when the devotees are under problem, God descends on this earth in a disguised form, and he does the service to the his or her devotees of bhakti. But at the same time, it is not unnatural and it is not unfamiliar for us. So that is, it is very easy to recognize, to understand, and also it is to practice. So these are the few reasons, according to celestial sage Narada, that Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, is much more easier. And in the 59th aphorism, he is giving one more logic or one more reason, one more rationale why the path of devotion is better than other paths. Pramanantarasya anapekshatvat swayam pramanatvat. Who has studied the epistemology? Episteme means knowledge, logy means study. We have studied the branches of knowledge. Mathematics is a branch of knowledge. Science is a branch of knowledge. Social studies is a branch of knowledge. Language is a study of language in itself is a branch of knowledge. But most of us, we have not studied what is knowledge. How do you define knowledge? What is the nature of the knowledge? How do I know that this is knowledge or this is the error or this is not knowledge? So very few people read. It is like theoretical physics, or it is not applied mathematics. It is a pure mathematics. At the probably at the PhD level, PhD level postdoc, they studied the pure mathematics. Just one concept: 2 + 3 is equal to 5. Why it is only 5? Why not 4? Why not 6? So they keep on thinking about it. It is very pure mathematics, it is called. So like this, what is knowledge? It is a epistemology. So from this epistemology point of view, here Narada is saying, so who has studied little epistemology or the classical philosophy, he will be able to understand. So in a layman's language, I will try to put it so that you will be able to understand. He is saying that for devotion, you don't need any alternative proof. Say for an example, I say, where were you at this particular time? I say, I was in Air Vedanta Society in Dublin. Someone may say, what is the proof that you were there? Okay, look, I was taking a class. If you go to YouTube, my background, if you see, then you'll be able to understand that I was in Air Vedanta Society at 6 p.m. on Sunday. So many times I have to prove my existence. I have to give the proofs. And when we go for probably job recruitments and all, they ask proof for our marks cards, progress reports, or our residence and etc. etc. All our documents. We give proof. And similarly, with the case of other paths, according to celestial sage Narada, they are not self-evident. Swatah pramanya, we say in philosophy. It is not self-evident. Their evidence, their proof of existence, it depends on some other things, whereas bhakti is swatah pramanya. It is self-evident. Means when a devotee, he gets that supreme devotion, there is no need of anyone's certificate that he has got a devotion, or she has got a devotion, or I have got a devotion. This is what Swadah Pramanya are self-evident in a layman's language. A devotee will be confident enough that he has got a devotion towards the Lord. Then there is no need of any external means, external authority to certify that he or she has got the devotion towards his or her chosen deity, a divine being, or the Supreme Lord, or the God. But of course, if you study objectively classical philosophy or the other paths, even the path of knowledge is also can be said so the Brahman. It is also self-evident. Like if a realized person, he doesn't need anyone's certificate that whether I have understood the truth or not, whether I'm a realized person. Just like a sleeping person. A person who is in a deep sleep, he never says, okay, I am in deep sleep, I am in deep sleep, I am in deep sleep. If a person is saying that he's in deep sleep, then it is it is for certain that he is not in the deep sleep. So if a person is in deep sleep, it is self-evident. And when he gets up, based on his experience, he says that I was sleeping, I had a very deep sleep. So that deep sleep, no one need to give a self-evident, it becomes automatically understandable. Probably this beautiful story comes in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. A child, son tells to his mother, Mother, when I feel hungry, please wake me up at the morning, at the early morning or whatever, when in the midnight, whenever I feel hungry, please wake me up so that let me get up and eat the food, whatever you have kept near me. Mother laughs and says, My dear boy, if you feel hungry really, if you really feel hungry, then I need not to wake you up. Yourself, you will get up and you will say that I am hungry. Why? Because that is self evident. I am hungry, so I need food. No need other people to tell. It is experienceable from me, and I will be able to understand. I will be able to eat the food to eradicate the hunger. So it is all self evident. So even this bhakti, it is self evident. A person who has got devotion towards the Lord, which has been, if it is matured enough, then there is no need of external evidence, external proof to say that he has got a devotion, she has got a devotion. He himself enjoys, experiences that love towards the Supreme. Then that is what self-evident, self-evident. Even from this point of view, you can say the path of devotion is better or it is supreme. Now, this question may come. It is a devotion you are telling, and why you are giving so much logic? Because there are people who thinks from all these aspects to fulfill the quench, to fulfill the inquisitiveness, to fulfill the intellectual anger of the different types of people. The author is trying to tell. Like I may not have this type of doubt, or you may not have such type of doubt, but there may be some type of people, some people who are following, who are trying to follow the path of devotion, and they may get such type of questions. As a result, they try to give answer. Then again, is I think already the path of devotion, why it is easy? Because of emotions. It is natural and we have already experienced, and the love is always experienceable and experienced we are. So that if it is turned towards God, then it becomes devotion. That's why it is easy. Then the second reason was given, it is self-evident. Then in the 60th aphorism, the sage Narada is giving two more reasons for saying that Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion, is easier than other paths. What is that? Shanti Rupat, Paramananda Rupacha. Shanti Rupat. It is in the form of natural peace. It is the nature of peace. And Paramananda Rupacha. And also, it is the nature of supreme bliss. See, Parama, this word supreme, this Parama, it includes Shanti. It has to be joined with Ananda also. So the supreme peace and supreme bliss. By practicing devotion, what he gets, what he attains supreme bliss and he attains supreme peace. So these are the two more reasons given by celestial sage Narada. When he uses the word supreme, when he uses the word adjective supreme for this peace and for this bliss, that itself distinguishes, differentiates from the worldly happiness and worldly peace. Say for an example, a young chap, he wanted a cell phone. He was pleading his parents, I want a cell phone, I want a cell phone, I want a cell phone. Then his father one day, he ordered a cell phone and he presented a cell phone to his son or a daughter. They are very happy. Immediately they made on and they informed all their friends, and they took a selfie, and probably they had put in the WhatsApp status, in the Facebook status, all these things. I've got a mobile and all. They are jumping. They have got so much joy. After 2-3 days, that same joy will not be there. It keeps on diminishing. After a week, okay, I've got a cell phone. That's it. Okay, it is it's an instrument I need for, talking to do some work. He or she will be using that cell. But the joy, what he or she was experiencing on the first day, after a week, it is not in the same fashion. And if it goes away, and of course, they may be morose or they'll be crying. So whatever the joy we get from the world or worldly materials or worldly objects, so that is limited in nature. It is not everlasting. It is not eternal. I go to some different countries, I go and I visit and I enjoy all these things fine, but they are all temporary, they are all limited in nature, temporal in nature. But whereas When you attain God, when you have got a God realization, self realization, the Ananda is Paramananda. It is the supreme bliss. When you supreme bliss means what? It is everlasting. There is no end to it. There is no, karma. There is always three dots. What do you mean by three dots? It is continuing. How much? It is continuing. It is continuing. Like draw a straight line with the two arrow marks means what? This straight line is continuing. There is no end to it. So, like the one who has got that supreme devotion in his heart, who has got that supreme devotion in devotee, he will be experiencing the Paramananda, supreme Ananda, supreme. Why? God itself is the nature of Ananda, isn't it? Because he doesn't crave for materialistic things, he doesn't crave for name, fame, power, position, anything. He has got God and he doesn't, his mind doesn't crave for anything. Then does it mean that he doesn't depend on the worldly objects? No, he has to depend. Now, a devotee is in the Iceland. He is in Paramanda, means he is experiencing the bliss. Now there is so much cold, then doesn't he need a heater? Definitely he needs a heater to take care of his body. He depends on the external objects for his survival, for his existence, no doubt. But if he doesn't get, he's not disturbed. That's what we mean. Necessity and luxury, necessity and wants and wishes, there is a lot of difference. Of course, he also he will be having a basic necessities as a being, definitely. He needs it and he tries to acquire all these things, but he's not carried over only from these things. That's what we mean. And the Ananda, it doesn't get from these things, and the Ananda is getting from the Lord, from the God, or from the divine. And also, that doesn't mean that he's insensitive. Okay, someone gives something, someone tells him, someone praises for some his good actions. Oh, I am got Paramananda, I don't bother about you. No, he's not insensitive. No, he acknowledges all these things, but he's not moved, he's not carried over by these things. That's what. But whereas in the day-to-day life, if you see in our lives, we are carried over, we are disturbed. That's the reason a lot of emotional upheavals is happening for us. Why? Because we are the slaves of the situations, relations, of the objects. But here, in his case, he doesn't depend on the world; he depends on the God. Means our life is world dependence. His life is God dependence. When a person is shifting himself from world dependence to God dependence, you can know it. Then he is becoming more and more spiritual. He is going towards more and more God. How to understand that whether I'm becoming more and more spiritual? How to understand that whether I am progressing in spiritual life? If you are shifting yourself from world center to God center, if you're going towards more and more God centered, then you can understand that you are becoming more and more spiritual, or you are going in the right direction. That's what Paramananda Rupa. Then Shanti Rupa. Whatever I want, I have got it. Fine. I'm peaceful. But after a day or two, I may feel that people may take away. I may lose these things. There can be a threat. There can be a burglar. There can be a thief and come. He may take away my things, gold or money or some costly items. So our mind is always obsessed with the law. Losing these things, and many times it disturbs peace. I used to love so much, my friend. We were great friends. And he or she left the friendship. My mind has been so much disturbed. Emotionally, I'm disturbed. Whatever in the world I have got, but still it is not able to give me that peace. So our peace depends on people, depends on objects, depends on the relationships, depends on the moods, depends on many things. So whatever we get peace from the world or the worldly objects and from the worldly products, it is all, of course, it is good, but it is again temporary in nature. But a person who has got a devotion, who has got a God dependence life, he has got Paramashanti, supreme peace. The situations doesn't disturb him. So for an example, I think I have given this also example once. Sri Ramakrishna was living in Dakshineshwar, we all know that. That is a temple complex in India in the West Bengal. He was there for 2 decades, probably more than 2 decades. And he never had anything else in the Calcutta other than that a small room. And of course, that doesn't belong to him. It belonged to someone else, but he was allowed to stay there. He was staying, and all of his possessions, if you see, one big cot and small cot, 2-3 pairs of clothes, and few 1 or 2 utensils, and probably 5 or 10 pictures of the god. That's all his possession was there. And his one of the relative who used to serve him, he said, Uncle, the owner of this property said that both of us, we should leave immediately, it seems, this place. If someone asks us, what we'll say? Oh, where will I go now? Where will I stay? How can he say that immediately? He should have given notice period for me. 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month or 3 months. He should have given notice period. Then I can search some place and I can go and settle. Such type of things we get it, and it is not unnatural. Of course, it is natural. There is no wrong in it. But in Sri Ramakrishna's case, as soon as we were sitting on the small cot, having a small napkin on his thigh, he said, "Is it?" He took the napkin, he put on his shoulder, and he said, "Hruday, come, let us go." And he was highly respected from the owner's father and grandfather, or grandmother or great grandmother. How can they were all the great devotees of me? They had so much shown love, respect, and how this young chap can do that? How can he tell that? He never questioned. He said, "Okay," and immediately he started moving. Then the owner came to know that there was a miscommunication. He comes running and said, My dear Reverend Sir, I never said that you should leave. The other person who is your relative, he has done some mistakes. So as a result, I have asked him to leave. I have never asked you to leave. Again, he never got annoyed. He never quarreled. He never shouted on him. Oh, is it so? Okay, then. He accepted it and he asked the other person to leave, and he came back and he sat in the room in his earlier room without any mental turbulation or emotional turbulation or emotional changes. So his peace was not got into pieces. This type of incidents, if it happens in our life, our peace gets disturbed. Our peace becomes pieces. But in Sri Ramakrishna's case, it was not so. Why? Because Paramashanti he has attained. He has realized the God. He has worshipped. He has done spiritual practice. He has got that parabhakti, supreme devotion. He had got that supreme peace. So his mind was not agitated from this world or worldly things. So Shanti Rupa, Paramananda Rupacha. So these are the things by which you can understand that he's a great devotee, a real devotee, and who has got the path of devotion, he will be peaceful eternally at all times, at all given circumstances, most of the times, at all times, and is always happy. Is not only happy, is a blissful. So that is the reason the path of devotion is much more suitable than any other paths, according to celestial sage Narada. Maybe one or two things are there about this, and afterwards one or two reasons also celestial sage Narada tells. We shall try to discuss in the forthcoming classes. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.